everything has a lifespan, including the servitors that you create. But how long that lifespan is determined by what the actual purpose of the servitor is, and if something goes horribly wrong, what do you do? How do you get rid of the servitor instantly? So let's have a look at those topics. Now, when it comes to my own servitors, I have a bit of a problem or difficulty in this area actually, because I do come to actually become quite attached to my servitors. They are my creations, they're my children, and just like my real life child, I wouldn't want to suddenly get rid of it. So the actual death process can be a bit difficult, but you know, it's a servitor, and depending on what the servitor is actually created for, what the task it has, will determine how long that servitor is actually active for. If it's a once-off task, then you can actually program the servitor to die after the task is completed. And in some cases, the servitor is actually something that is ongoing through your whole life. Maybe it's something to do with your health, maybe it's something to do with your business, your financial situation, and things like that. And these types of servitors continue to operate throughout your entire lifetime. So they would actually die when you die. So all of these things are usually programmed into the servitor at the very beginning. And when I say die, what I mean is that a servitor is a body of energy. And that energy comes from you, or it may come from the elements, depending on how you created it. But at the end of its lifespan, it then disintegrates back into the energy that it came from. So if you created it from your personal energy, then it just basically disintegrates back into your own energy. If you created it from, say, the element of air, it disintegrates and becomes the element of air again. So in this case, the energy body itself is almost like a concentration of energy from the thing that you created it from. So the death process is one where it just dissolves and disintegrates. Now, depending on how the servitor is being fed, in a lot of cases it's being fed from your own energy or from some energy that you generate. Just as I say, it could be the elements, so you would actually generate the energy of the element within you and then direct it towards the servitor and feed it that way. In this instance, if you no longer work with the servitor, you disregard it, you forget about it, it will eventually just disintegrate anyway. It will die because it's not being fed. Anything that doesn't get fed will die. Plants, people, animals, servitors, anything. But if the servitor is being fed from an external force, which is a constant influx of energy for the servitor, then it's going to continue to be fed and therefore it's not going to die. So if you forget about the servitor, it's going to continue to live on its own. And in a case like that, again, it all depends on how it was set up, what its purpose was, how you created it and how it's being fed. But in some cases that servitor can then grow and become sentient and could start wreaking havoc. So what do you do in the case of a servitor that has started running rampant, or maybe you've lost the vessel that you housed it in? Maybe something just goes completely wrong. You may have used an earthenware jar or vase or something like that to actually house the servitor, and maybe that broke, and now it can't come back. So if the vessel, the housing is broken and it can't actually come back to its house in order for you to feed it, then something needs to be done. And if you're no longer using that servitor, then you can actually allow it to disintegrate, to die. But what you can do, if something goes horribly, horribly wrong, and you need to actually get rid of the servitor immediately, what you can do is program something in at the beginning. Now, what I like to do is, every servitor I create, the name ends with L, EL. So what I do, I pre-program it that if I need to dissolve the servitor immediately for whatever reason, then I will change the last two letters, the L, into OR. And I will repeat that 9 times without interruption, and then the servitor will die, dissolve, disintegrate immediately. Wherever it is, doesn't matter where it is, whether it's housed or whether it's off somewhere, this is pre-programmed in. So it's just a fail-safe, just in case something does go wrong and you need that in order to just basically kill it. I hate using that word, kill it. I don't like killing my servitors. Don't like when my servitors die, but anyway, that's just me. Maybe I get too attached to my servitors, who knows. Now, the other aspect here is obviously if you have housed your servitor in a vessel. I like to use stones, which makes it quite easy. This next process quite easy for me. When the servitor has served its purpose, it's completed its task, and it has died, what do you do with the vessel? Quite frankly, there's nothing magical about it anymore. It's just an empty vessel. It's just an ordinary piece of the furniture around the house. So you can either just throw it in the bin, if it's a nice vase or a jar or an ornament or a statue of some kind, then you can just clean it and just put it on the shelf. The reason I like using stones is because what I do is I then go to a river that's down the road here and I cast it into the river. That's just my personal process. So that's really it for the lifespan or the life and death of a servitor. As I say, the lifespan depends on the purpose, the task that it has. If it's an immediate, if it's a once-off thing, then as soon as the task is complete, it dies. Otherwise, it becomes an ongoing thing. And you can also program it if it's something that is ongoing, but there's no determined end to it. But there will be before you obviously expire. Then you can obviously program it to, say a word, do a particular action, visualize 5 things coming together and saying a particular word. Whatever it is, whatever you feel will work for you and something that you're not going to accidentally do. And then you can pre-program that in as you create the servitor, so that when you want the servitor's lifespan to come to an end, you just do X, Y, Z, and it dissolves. And that's it. So it's Friday today. I hope you have a brilliant weekend, and I'll see you next week. Cheers.